I'm just an average guy who loves the outdoors. I love to hunt and I love to fish. Somewhere along the way I ended up with a video camera in my hand. So now I'm just cruising around checking out cool destinations. So sit back, put your feet up, and come on along. I'm Brian Whitens, and this is where I've been. If you've been following our show, you know that I spend a lot of time cruising around Ontario Sunset Country visiting a variety of hunting and fishing destinations. There are so many great destinations here that it's hard to know where to begin. There are a variety of questions that arise when planning a fishing trip to Ontario. Questions about crossing the border, or the difference between the housekeeping plan and the American plan. What kind of trip best suits your needs? Drive to, boat in, or fly in? What are the different species of fish found in Ontario Sunset Country? What kind of tackle should I bring? Well, I traveled around Ontario Sunset Country and got the scoop from the people who know. Hopefully this next half hour will tell you most of what you need to know when planning a fishing trip to Ontario.
Sunset Country, big part of Ontario, Canada. We're located north of the state of Minnesota in Ontario. Northwestern Ontario is what we call it up here, but essentially it's the area north of the state of Minnesota. 60,000 square miles of Canadian Shield country, 70,000 lakes. That's more lakes than people, so that's a good combination if you like to fish. Wonderful multi-species opportunities on fishing, great options on hunting, and the resorts and lodges, second to none in Canada. There's a choice of housekeeping, accommodations, you can have the American plan, which includes meals, remote outposts, wilderness canoeing. We have it, you can take it too.
Hey, Jeff Gustafson here for Sunset Country, Ontario. You want to travel to Sunset Country to go fishing? We've got lots of good reasons to come. Over 70,000 estimated fishable lakes. We got lakes, rivers, reservoirs, clear water, cool water, clean water, and lots of big fish. The multi-species fishing options in Sunset Country are off the charts. You got world-class walleye, pike, muskie, bass, crappie, whitefish, lake trout. It's never ending. Perch. All seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter, there's always a season open, and we got awesome fishing all year round. Hey, you want to talk about big walleyes? Sunset Country is full of them. Big fish can be caught all year round. Numbers, if you want to just catch a lot of fish, it's nothing to go out on a lake like Lake of the Woods right here, catch 100 fish a day. That's normal. As far as rigging up for walleyes, I would never ever go on the water without jigs in my tackle box, but if you want to get creative, you can catch them on crankbaits, jigs tipped with plastic, spinner rigs, and a bottom bouncer. Stuff that's easy to use, it's going to work. You don't need to bring all the tackle you've ever used to catch walleye when you come up here. Just bring a handful of stuff, you're going to catch fish. The seasonal movements of walleyes are going to tell you where to fish. Early in the year, I like to look for sand. The first green weeds that are coming up in any of these lakes are going to attract walleyes. As you move along later into the summer, midsummer, July and August is my favorite time. That's when you're going to catch the biggest numbers of fish and probably some of the biggest fish of the whole year. Then you're going to start moving out to the main basins of the lakes that you're fishing in. Humps, main lakes, points, any of that main lake structure is going to be key. As you move into fall, current can be really good. Generally walleyes are going to be a little bit deeper than they've been throughout the spring and summer. And then when we get into under the ice, man, ice fishing up here is so fun. It's nothing to go catch a lot of fish. Late season, probably the best time, late March, you're going to catch not only big numbers, but big fish as well. You want to catch toothy critters? Sunset Country's got plenty of them too, whether it's pike or muskie that you want to chase. They get big. Pike, they're available all across the region, and same, big numbers of them, and also a good shot at big fish. You can catch them as soon as the ice goes out, right through the whole season. The season's open for pike year-round. You can come up ice fishing, lots of pike, lots of fun. The pike are so easy to catch up here, you can catch them on just about whatever you want. I once guided a kid that caught a big pike on a little 5-cent gummy worm that you're supposed to eat. He caught a pike on it. There's lots of pike in Sunset Country. The usual daredevils, spinner baits, jerk baits. Anything that's moving fast, it's going to get their attention, it's going to catch them.
Watch Real Outdoors as they travel to a new and exciting destination each week. Real hunting and real fishing in the real outdoors.
If you're looking to catch a world record muskie, then Sunset Country, man. We got Lake of the Woods, Wabigoon, Eagle Lake, Lac Sewell, lots of big waters that have a lot of big fish in them. Just so you know, muskie season opens the third Saturday in June every year, and if you're gonna come up here in June muskie fishing, you're gonna wanna look in shallow water, and then as the season goes along, just sort of move out of the shallow bays into the main lake stuff throughout the summer, main lake rock piles, points. Into the fall, that's probably the best time to catch a big fish, September, October, even into November. I know a lot of guys are going out fishing and they're breaking ice that last time they go, and that's when they catch a lot of big fish. So not a lot of people around then, and fishing's really good. As far as baits for muskie fishing, my favorite bait are the bucktail style spinners. All the guiding that I've done and all the fishing for them that I've done, I've seen way more fish get caught and hooked and bite on these bucktail inline spinner type baits. As you get into the summer and fall, then you can play around. I'm not telling you that bucktails are the only thing that's gonna catch a muskie, but can't go wrong. But topwaters are really fun, jerk baits are really fun. If you come in the fall, you definitely wanna bring big crankbaits that are gonna get down 10 to 30 feet and troll them. That's how you're gonna catch a big muskie. Though bass aren't as widespread as pike and walleyes across Sunset Country, the southern part of the region has lots of them and lots of really good fishing. If you're into tournaments, some of the best open team tournaments in North America are taking place in Sunset Country on Lake of the Woods, Rainy Lake. Some really big fun tournaments that are big week-long events. You know, if you're gonna come bass fishing, you can fish them all summer long. It's a catch and release season in May and June. But you can come and fish them. Top waters early in the year, and then throughout the summer, the window's wide open. You can catch them on just about whatever you want to use. Jerk baits, plastics, top waters. I have a top water tied on throughout the whole season. And into the fall, bass, smallmouth fishing's really good in September and even into October. The fish group up and they want to eat. We even have largemouths on some waters in Sunset Country. There's a number of good fly-in lakes that have them. And resorts have outpost cabins on these lakes. And then you get on some of these big lakes like Lake of the Woods, has a really good largemouth population. And we get big fish too, up to 6 and 7 pound fish that show up in some of these tournaments. So.
The fly-in fishing experience. Well, I mean, you've got a number of options here for fly-in fishing. We can look at the American Plan Fly-In Lodge. That's essentially a jewel in the wilderness. You take a float plane from a place like Kenora here, or Vermilion Bay, or Red Lake, and you fly out to a lodge, full American Plan. So they're gonna feed you, they're gonna pamper you, everything's looked after. It comes with a guide, you get the shore lunches done for you. Essentially all you gotta do is worry about fishing on a lake that you're the only fishing camp on. The other options are remote outpost cabins. That's where you own the lake for the week, folks. There's one cabin, your fishing party, and the fish. Unbelievable with the amount of cabins that are out there that you can choose from. Big lake, small lake, 250 miles north of the road. You can find a cabin in the wilderness, and that's your place for the week. No neighbors. The other option is some outfitters have what they call our daily fly-ins. They'll actually have a boat cached on a lake somewhere. You can go to their air base and you'll be able to take that plane into the lake for that day. They'll drop you off in the morning and pick you up just after supper time. And all you do that day is go in, it's your lake, you go fishing. Outfitter comes with his float plane that evening, picks you up, boom, you're back in the saddle back at home, probably with a lot of fish under your belt. Drive to a lodge is the most popular fishing experience in Sunset Country. It's a big area, 60,000 square miles, so there's lots of options for the drive-in fishermen. We're looking at housekeeping cabins. That's essentially where you come in, You do your own cooking. You're not tied to a certain meal time, so you fish at your leisure. If you want to stay out a little later on the water that night, then you can come in and eat at 8 o'clock as opposed to being in at 6 o'clock for a meal, say at an American Plan Lodge. The American Plan Lodge is the opposite of the housekeeping. Everything is done for you, essentially. Great food, great accommodations. You usually comes with a guide and a boat package. You know, some people will even ask the guys to bait their hooks if that's what you're looking for. These lodges are the full service, full meal deal, high-end, high-quality, great fishing experience. Boat-in lodges are a unique thing. If you're a little antsy about flying on a float plane, then the boat-in lodge is going to give you the similar type experience, the remoteness that a fly-in does. But essentially what you do is you go to a dock, you're going to get a big cruiser to pick you up, and they'll take you across the lake, probably 5, 10, 15, 20 miles, depending on where the lodge or outpost cabin will be. And you go by boat, so no getting off the ground. You're on terra firma. And you know, no worries. The fishing will reflect the same quality you'll get at a fly-in outpost because of the remoteness of these camps. You won't see a lot of other people around, and it's the same type of experience, but no airplanes involved.
This tip brought to you by Real Outdoors.
Planning a trip to Canada, you may want to consider a number of different things about your border crossing. When crossing into Canada, the first thing you should consider is identification. It's not mandatory to have a passport to enter Canada, but as a U.S. citizen, Canadian citizen, or permanent resident of either country, there are a number of other documents that you can use. Enhanced driver's license, citizenship cards, passport cards, nexus cards, birth certificate along with a photo identity document will also facilitate your entry into Canada.
Watch Real Outdoors as they travel to a new and exciting destination each week. Real hunting and real fishing in the real outdoors.
Lake trout, man, probably my favorite fish to catch. Nothing fights harder. They get big, man. We catch lake trout up to 30 pounds. You hear about bigger fish every year, but there's a lot of waters that have really big fish, and there's a lot of waters that have numbers of fish. Some of the little lakes we'll go snow machine into in the winter. You can catch 100 fish in a day. You can't do that anywhere else. During the open water season, lake trout are going to be shallow early in the year, and then by mid-June they're going to move out to deeper water, but they're still catchable. Nothing works better probably than a white tube jig, bass lure. White tube jig though, jig it, and you're gonna catch some lake trout. Hey, not only do we got lake trout, we've also got healthy populations of brook trout and splake, and they're stocked in a lot of waters even too. And they're there for you to catch. They're good eating, they're fun to catch, and they're beautiful fish. You wanna talk about ice fishing? There's probably nowhere better in the world than Sunset Country for the opportunities that exist on the ice. We got awesome walleye fishing, pike fishing, whitefish, lake trout, crappies, perch. And I'm not talking about just going out fishing and catching a few fish. I'm talking about world-class fishing. This is the place to go. January, February can be cold, but bring a shelter, rent a shelter. There's lots of people up here that are renting ice fishing shacks, and the fishing will blow your mind. We really good ice fishing. Then when we get into March, the snow starts melting, the days get longer, the days get warmer. That's when stuff really gets cooking. Walleye fishing's off the charts. If you want to get a big pike, the biggest pike of the entire year, that's the time to do it.
Behind me here is Lake in the Woods. It's one of 3 lakes really that are awesome for houseboating. A lake here behind me, that's 1 million surface acres in size. It has 14,500 plus islands on it. And I think we've got about 5 houseboat operators who can accommodate you. A houseboat is essentially like renting a housekeeping cabin on the water. You're not restricted to one location, different view of the sunset every night. Your cabin floats, it has a motor, you can go. You'll bring a boat with behind you for fishing purposes. Some people fish right off the houseboat. These things have all the amenities, a kitchen, beds, a shower, things for the kids, such as slides. They'll watch the kids jump off the boat into the water. These are all things that these big lakes offer with the houseboats. You can accommodate anywhere from a party of 5 up to a party of 18 people on some of the larger boats. So really unique experience, something I'd recommend you try at least one time.
This tip brought to you by Real Outdoors.
Visitors to Canada may bring a variety of items. Some of those items may have certain restrictions or controls on them. It's always best to contact us and check on any changes to regulations that may have taken place since the previous year. Persons traveling to Canada may import alcohol for their own personal consumption. Quantities are 1.14 liters of hard liquor, or 1.5 liters of wine, or 24 12-ounce beers. Those limits are duty and tax free. You may import more, and there may be duties applicable to the extra alcohol that you do import. You may bring a carton of cigarettes, 50 cigars, and or 200 grams of processed tobacco. In Ontario, a maximum of 45 liters is the most alcohol you can import. So make sure if importing extra alcohol that you don't exceed that limit. There are limitations on some of the other items that you may bring. You may bring along your recreational vehicles, campers, boats, motors. Canada Border Service Agency does expect that you will be returning all those items to the United States. They can't stay between trips without our authorization. So if you did want to leave one of those items, check with us at the border.
Hey, the importance of catch and release cannot be stressed enough. That's the main reason why our fisheries are so good up here, is that people have really changed their attitudes and they're releasing a lot more fish. Hey, it's okay to keep a few fish to eat. Having a shore lunch, you know, a couple times during your trip is great and it tastes great. But at the end of the day, you don't, let those big fish go. Keep a few small ones to eat. They're better eating anyways. And we're going to have great fishing for many years to come.
All right, let's get them back in the water here so somebody else can catch them.
If you do decide you want to take a few fish home, you got to remember a couple things. They have to be packaged individually, so 2 fillets per bag, and you have to leave some skin on the fish, a little patch of skin, an 1-inch-long strip that's going to indicate an ID what type of species of fish they are. So if you're bringing some walleyes home, leave a little patch of walleye skin on the fillet, and if you get stopped, you're going to be able to show how many fish you have and what species they are.
Watch Real Outdoors as they travel to a new and exciting destination each week. Real hunting and real fishing in the real outdoors.
Hey, if you want to get your kids into fishing, there's no better place to take them. Taking kids out fishing, it's all about catching fish. If they don't catch any fish, they're not going to have any fun and they're not going to want to go do it again. So bring them up to Sunset Country. Guaranteed they're going to catch fish and they're going to want to do it again year after year, and you're going to have a lot of fun with your kids. Someday they'll probably bring their kids fishing.
If traveling with children, you may want to bring identity documents for those children. If they're very young, a copy of a birth certificate, a notarized copy will suffice. You may also want to bring a letter from mom or dad if it happens to be grandpa or grandma that are traveling with the children. You may import night crawlers and bedding. Currently you can't import any leeches, nor can you import live minnows. You may bring minnows in a salted or frozen format. You can check with the Ministry of Natural Resources in Ontario, and they will be able to tell you the most up-to-date regulations with regards to bait fish. Many people ask if a previous DWI, OWI, driving under the influence charge in the US would have an impact on them entering Canada. As it is considered an indictable offense in Canada, it certainly may have an impact. If a person possesses an indictable offense on their record less than 10 years old, they may require special permission to enter Canada. The biggest piece of advice I can offer to visitors to Canada is if they have a past criminal history, is to contact Canada Border Service Agency directly. You may talk to an immigration officer or another officer on duty. They may look at what you have in your past criminal history, be able to guide you as to how to proceed.
Hey, the variety of options here is sick, man. If you want to go on a 7-day trip and you don't want to fish for walleyes every day, you can go muskie fishing one day, you can go walleye fishing one day, have a good shore lunch, you can go bass fishing one day, then the next day, if you come in the fall, you can go duck hunting, deer hunting, moose hunting, bear hunting. It never ends. There's so much to do here, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. Fishing options are off the charts. There's nowhere else in the world you can go and have the same multi-species opportunities that you have here year-round. Sunset Country is where to go.
You know, as Executive Director of Sunset Country Travel Association, our job and my job is to help you plan your trip to Ontario. There's a couple of ways. We have our signature book, the Sunset Country Travel Guide and Map. It's done on an annual basis. This is the 2010 version, 84-page book. It lists all our members, so if you're looking for a resort, a lodge, a hotel, a canoe outfitter, a houseboat operator, a campground, they're listed inside this book. The other benefit is the big map that we have to offer. It shows where the location of all these camps are. It's the book that people swear by, and it's free just by going to our website. You can get your own copy, and it's a great planning tool to use to, you know, locate first the place you want to go and identify the things you want to do. You can call the Travel Association as well. We do answer any question you may have. We've got a toll-free number. Give us a call. Our job is to help you and take the sort of questions or uncertainty out you may have about planning a trip up here. That's the Travel Association. We're here to help you. We encourage you to call and you get your free guide. Go to our websites. What we want to do is get you here. So please call and we'll endeavor to do everything we can to help you. The main reason most people come to Ontario is for the fishing and hunting or just the camping. They have a specific activity in mind, but really it's when you leave you realize that the scenery, the wilderness of this area, that's our heritage up here. That's really what I think when I talk to people at a sports show in the wintertime when I go back down, they say, you know, Jerry, it's something that you can't really talk or explain, but it's a feeling, the scenery, the rocks, the lakes, the loon, the sound of the loon calls, the green forests for miles upon miles. It stays with you for the rest of your life, and it's probably, you know, the fishing was great and I enjoyed the fishing, or the hunting was awesome as well, but really it was the experience of being in the wilderness, seeing those remote areas that few people get to. That's what sticks with me most, and that's really what a lot of people tell me, and it's sort of, that's the, you know, the unknown value, or the thing you don't expect to really wow you is what really does wow you is the beautiful scenery, these blue lakes, these massive rock outcrops, cliffs, everything like that. It's you got to see it to believe it, so come on up.